Welcome to part 3 of our video presentation on chapter 15 that deals with social and legal issues with respect to IT management. In this final part, we'll talk about a number of social issues, in relation to information and communication technologies. We're going to talk about identity theft. We will talk about software piracy. We will talk about digital divide and so forth. We'll start with the identity theft issue. So what do we mean by identity theft? It's someone appropriating your personal information without your knowledge to commit fraud or theft. So for example, somebody got a hold of your credit card or somebody got a hold of your social security number, and based on that they applied for a loan or they bought something, and then you're the one who is responsible for paying for it, repaying the loan or paying for the product purchased, but you didn't actually purchase it. Okay. Now, resolving an incident or involving identity theft on average takes 30 to 40 hours, but it can also take months or years to investigate and most importantly, to remedy the consequences. One of the most serious consequences of identity theft is that it damages your credit history. You bought something and you didn't pay for it because you didn't even know that somebody bought something under your name, and then you didn't pay for that purchase, and then it goes to your credit history, and then it takes a lot of time to prove that it wasn't you, and to clear your credit history and restore it to the original state before that fraud was committed. In 2009, 11.1 million US adults were affected by identity theft. That was an increase of 12% since 2008. Average victims, spend 21 hours and $343 resolving the crime. So it costs quite a bit in terms of time and money. So what should be done to protect your identity and to prevent those situations from happening? First of all, you need to protect your documents. That includes your social security number. Do not reveal it to anybody. Do not share it with everybody. Protect your credit cards. Protect your credit card numbers and other details. Otherwise, somebody may get a hold of this information. Also, you need to protect your computer by using firewalls and installing antivirus software in case somebody wants to copy something from your hard drive. As an individual or as an organization, do not throw bills, credit card offers, or any other personal information into trash. You need to make sure you shred it because somebody may dig through a trash can and find all this information. Regularly check your credit card bills and bank statements to make sure you don't see any suspicious transactions that you didn't initiate, and then check credit reports frequently, because this is where identity theft sometimes shows up, because somebody bought something or applied for a credit card under your name and you didn't know that, and because of that your credit history will suffer. So you need to monitor your credit reports. Intellectual property rights. So what is an intellectual property, or IP? It's any product of the human mind, such as an idea, an invention, a literary creation like a book, a work of art like a painting or song, a business method, an industrial process, a chemical formula, a computer program, or presentation. The key difference between intellectual and physical property is that the product can be shared without the owner losing it, or even without the owner knowing it. So for example, if you wrote a song, somebody can record it and distribute it online and you will not know it. Now, you cannot distribute somebody's physical products like cars or something, because the person will know that you stole those items from him or her. What can be owned in terms of intellectual property differs from society to society, but many nations recognize the importance of laws to protect intellectual property. Because if you don't have those laws, then it really inhibits innovation. People, they don't feel like investing their own time and money into creating digital content like music, videos, or books, because they know that it will be pirated in a second and there will be no payoff, no compensation for that. Unfortunately, it takes a lot of resources, it takes a lot of time, money, effort, and creativity to create a digital product like a book or a song, but it doesn't take much, it doesn't take many resources, doesn't take much effort to make a copy of it. So that's the essence of the dilemma here. Hard to create, easy to copy. Intellectual property laws typically grant ownership rights for a limited time under the belief that intellectual property should be eventually be in the public domain. And there are two related but different legal terms for that. Copyrights, they give the owner control over the duplication of copyrighted intellectual property. So I may be wrong about the exact numbers, but I think if you write a book, you'll hold the copyright to this book for around 100 years. After 100 years, this book becomes in a public domain. So that's why a lot of the world's classic literature can be downloaded for free online, because more than 100 years have passed and now it's available for everybody. Now, patents give the owner the exclusive right to the manufacture and use of a new design or method. So if you create a new algorithm or a better way of, I don't know, doing quality inspection, you can patent it, and if somebody wants to use it, they need to pay your money. Again, this stimulates inventions, because if you cannot profit from your invention, then you'll be less likely to invest time and money into developing new things, new methods, and new products. Now the problem is that, I mean, those laws, copyright laws and patent laws, legislature, they have been around for a long time, for centuries, literally. But unfortunately, they were developed with tangible products in mind, physical products, not intellectual products. Now, since IT separates the content from the medium that it contains, new laws are required, but legislation often lags behind. So, with respect to digital goods and information technology goods, you're really concerned about the content, right? You're concerned about the song itself, not the medium that is used to carry that song, like a CD. So that's not a physical product, and it creates all kinds of issues for that legislature. But nowadays, U.S. copyright laws, for example, make it illegal to copy and use software without the software vendor's permission. For most software, the copyright owners, meaning the vendors, the companies that produce that software, they do not sell the software itself, but only the right to use it under certain specified conditions. For example, if you buy a copy of Microsoft Windows operating system, you don't own the code that was written for this operating system. You only own the right to use it for your own computer, right? You cannot really distribute it to other computers. So it's under certain specified conditions. When that right is violated, the copyright has been violated. For example, if Microsoft sold you the right to use their operating system on your own home computer, but you also made a copy for your friend or for your work computer, that's a violation. You're not using it in accordance with the originally specified conditions. In 2009, an estimated 43% of installed software worldwide was pirated, which caused the software industry an estimated of $51 billion. Software piracy rates vary by country and region. In some developing countries, governments do not monitor software piracy. For example, in some countries like Armenia, Vietnam, Venezuela, Pakistan, and Indonesia in 2009, more than 80% of software was pirated. Okay, China, because it's a big country with a big market for digital goods, have been an area of concern for a lot of software vendors. But over the years, they kind of managed, under the push from the international community and also under the push from their own government, they managed to reduce piracy a little bit to under 80%. Now, a lot of those countries they tolerate software piracy, I think, for two reasons. Number one, they feel there are more important issues they need to deal with as a government, and they don't view it as a serious crime. Number two, I think they're trying to be smart, in quotes. They're trying to stimulate, they are trying to stimulate the degree to which software is implemented in various industries, because companies can do it for free as long as the government closes their eyes on the piracy. However, I don't think it's a good way to do it, because it really backfires on them as well. Because if that's the case, then a lot of software vendors, they're not comfortable entering this particular market. They're not comfortable investing into this market. So in a way, I believe it really slows them down. So maybe it can be used as a build-up strategy to build up software infrastructure. But later on, you really need to protect software vendors so that they invest into development and innovation in your specific country. I mean, for example, you can pirate a particular software, let's say, in one country, but the vendor does not have any representatives, so you cannot really, ask for somebody's help. You're the last, you're the last to get all the updates and all those things. So it doesn't. It sounds like a good deal on the surface, but it may not be a good deal for a lot of those countries. Digital entertainment piracy, another big issue that is always discussed nowadays. By that we mean piracy of music and videos, and it's growing internationally. Now, just like software piracy, CD piracy rates vary across countries. In some countries, most of the CDs pirated. In other countries like US, Japan, and Western Europe, it's very rare for digital content to be pirated. The organization that represents the international recording industry against piracy is the International Federation of the Phonographic Industry. They have had a lot of work recently because despite iTunes and all those models where you can download legal copies of music and video content for a low fee, it looks like a majority of music is pirated worldwide still. And nowadays, pirating video information is a growing trend because of all those. I think it largely happens because of the increase in bandwidth available to people, so they can easily stream, and send large video files over the internet. So there have been like a number of initiatives, and a number of other organizations have been formed in the United States to deal with music and video piracy. Of course, things became worse due to P2P networking. Napster was one of the original ones. It was a network for file sharing, and it seems like a good thing on the surface to allow users to share files, but it was kind of used in a wicked way where most of the files shared were actual music files, right? So there are a lot of issues still on the surface that need to be addressed. Some other social issues that information and communication technologies give rise to is digital divide. In the old days, what divided rich people from poor people, and that usually implies people who had opportunities and people who didn't have any opportunities for improving their own well-being, was like land ownership, physical asset ownership. Nowadays, they're saying that it will be more about not land divide but digital divide. People who have access to information communication technologies, meaning let's say high-speed, cheap internet, reliable internet versus somebody who lives in a country where internet is not available or for its poor quality. This is something that can create digital divide where some people, they get access to top-notch education, top-notch information that helps them stay informed, improve their skills, while other people will be lagging behind. Nowadays, I've heard this saying from somebody named Wickham, who is one of the chief scientists for R Studio. This is the company that produces R software. And R, as you probably know, is a language used in statistical analysis and all kinds of other areas of data science. So basically, he said nowadays to learn something, to get a new skill, you need to have two things. Number one, you need to have motivation to learn something, and number two, you need to have Google. But what happens when Google is not available to you, or it just doesn't work, in a way that is reliable enough for you to access those materials or download something? Another issue is freedom of speech. On the one hand, most advanced societies, they want to protect freedom of speech. At the same time, things have gotten really out of control, as you can probably tell from the last presidential election campaign. In other words, most societies, most people agree that that individuals should have freedom of speech, they should freely express their opinions. But online, it's very easy to spread false information, to spread rumors, or intentionally incorrect information designed to defame, to damage somebody's reputation. So the question becomes, what do you do with it? I mean, how do you deal with somebody intentionally spreading rumors about a presidential candidate or about a celebrity or any other public personality? Should you sue them? Should you protect their right to express their opinion that somebody, is bad? So unfortunately, it just becomes such a huge problem because internet makes it easy to post rumors, let's say on social media, and spread those information. So I think legislation is still not sure what to do about those people. Because that kind of brings us to hazards of inaccuracy. Maintaining accuracy is costly and time consuming. Who should pay for the impact of data inaccuracies? I mean, who should pay if a particular individual distributes false information about a product or about a politician or about anything else, right? So who's responsible for that inaccuracy and who should pay for it? Impact on workers. Internet makes it easy to outsource certain intellectual tasks, let's say writing code, or doing proofreading. Nowadays, there are very advanced applications of outsourcing where, for example, doctors in India are looking on X-rays or looking at medical indicators for patients in the United States. That creates a positive impact where companies can take certain processes to countries where they are most efficient, where they have the lowest price, where there's access to the greatest number of affordable, educated labor force. But it also creates social issues because some workers in developed countries, they're fearing that their work will be outsourced to other countries, and they're not sure, what to do about it. The governments are not sure how to deal with this. Should we allow freedom of entrepreneurship, or should we restrict it for the benefits of the people? So outsourcing creates a big social impact, and a number of very important social issues that need to be addressed. In the future, computers will continue to get faster, more powerful, and less costly. So what it means is that all of those issues that we have discussed so far will become even more severe. There's one trend that everybody is talking about nowadays. They're saying that expert system, neural networks, and artificial intelligence are still evolving, and they're about to become as good as humans in certain areas, for example, translation or even driving a car. Again, that would have a number of profound social implications. A lot of people who thought that their job was protected from outsourcing, was protected from automation, let's say professors. Nowadays, there are all those advanced tools for online education, for online automated coaching. So a lot of people, they see that their jobs, their careers will be in danger within the next couple of decades. Especially, it's important for young people, because a lot of experts predict that a lot of professions that young people are studying for nowadays will lose their relevance 10, 20 years from now. I think the only professions that will remain are the ones that require creativity. I mean, no matter how smart a particular information system is, I doubt it can write a good book or make an entertaining, funny movie. So the creative professions are probably protected, but all other professions, including driving a car, as you can tell from that famous Google car experiment, are probably not protected. So if those predictions become true, it will create a number of economic and social issues in countries around the world. Okay, friends, so this completes part 3, the last part of chapter 15. Thank you for listening.